Sampling has been a massive part of the music industry since before the turn of the century. Various producers have used it to catapult themselves into the mainstream by tapping into perhaps the strongest human feeling, nostalgia. But there was always a problem which producers would have to deal with when using these samples: clearance. In order to use a small portion of a song, no matter how much you flip it, you would need to essentially get permission from the owners, and this can cost big money. But with all the resources that producers have at their disposal today, there is actually a very simple solution. Just make your own samples that sound like these real vinyl records and flip those instead. Today I'm going to break down the entire process and show you from start to finish, and you won't believe how close we get. Oh my god, that sounds so good! The first element I always like to start with is the chords. If we're making some vintage stuff, you're probably thinking, okay, well, he's going to use a piano. And while you can do that, sometimes it's nice to use other stuff as well. There's plenty of other vintage instruments that are really good for chords out there. So I think I'm going to use this because I always use the piano for these types of samples and it's just kind of boring. So pianos are fine, but e-pianos are also an option. So if you are like me and you're not exactly an expert in music theory when it comes to making chords, then a nice little trick we can do is we can just borrow popular chord progressions from the jazz soul genre and then play around with the voices and the inversions of the chords to make them a bit more unique to what we want to make. One of the best ways to get them is honestly just go into ChatGPT. So yeah, and then it will just spit out a few different options that you can just quickly take and build from. So yeah, we'll just copy these in here and that will just give us our starting point. The first one sounds nice. Here's where we start thinking about spacing the chords out and getting kind of a groove down, because it all starts with chords. For instance, you wouldn't just want the chords to just hit every single beat. What we actually want to do is, leave some spaces, kind of move them around. Yeah, it just makes it way more interesting. This is another trick we can do as well. We're just going to be spitting these gems out constantly as we make this sample. You can actually combine octaves. We have this chord here, right? Sounds great. What if we duplicate it up here and have it come in as like a sort of an accent? So we'll strum it, bring the velocity down as well, so it's not as strong as the main one. It's just meant to accent it a little bit. Nice. We could even invert the voicings a little bit if it sounds like it's too high or it doesn't quite sound right. We could bring this B down here to this E perhaps. So now we need to get back to here, or we can keep going. I think we should keep going. We could keep the progression sounding interesting. So if we do this little movement here, something like this, we just go up the scale. It loops nicely now, right? And that's because of this chord here. If we drag this one out here, our main chord, you can see that it's the next note up. It meets it perfectly. And as well, another little trick we can do is if we want to make the sound really soulful, we can move certain notes off key. So we could do something like this. You see how nice that sounds, right? This G sharp is out of scale, but because it is right next to two notes which are very much in scale, it doesn't matter. Which makes it sound more soulful. Certain notes you can definitely do that with, so experiment with that for sure if you really want to get that soulful sound. Rather than looping this again, we can take this in a slightly different direction now, which could then lead us to our second section. So you just really want to be thinking about the arrangement of this sample right at the beginning, even before you get to that point. When you're making the chords, when you're doing the melodies, how is it all going to contribute to the bigger picture? For this part, we've gone long chord here, and then before it gets to the next one, it has a nice little break of like passing chords, right? And that's kind of been our groove. Next section of this chord progression, I'm going to change it, and I'm going to put a chord right here on the second bar. If you're struggling to come up with a chord progression that works together, sometimes it's easier to start with the root note of the chords and then build your way up. So if you ignore all this green and just focus on these red notes here, it's actually a lot more simple that way, and then you just build up the scale. Oh, that sounds nice. This is sounding really nice. This is a great little progression. Kind of used a lot of the classic kind of soulful music theory, little tricks here and there with notes being off key. And like, for instance, this D sharp is literally off. It's not in the scale. There's 2 notes in the chord. The root note isn't in scale. It sounds like it belongs there because it's in context with these ones. Don't be afraid to try that yourself. We can actually add to this a little bit. Grab this chord, we copy it up. We need to leave some space for other stuff, so I'll just put them 2 there. That's fine, whatever. So we are going to just bring out the Strumizer, Option S, just something like that. Subtle. Do it here as well. Do Alt R. This is randomizing the velocities of it, gives it a little bit more depth. So I think our chords are basically done. So after the chords now, we need to work on the bass. So I always use the Scarby Rickenbacker bass. I'm sure there's other plugins out there that may be better, but this is just the go-to one for me, and a lot of people use this as well. We can choose a different preset maybe. Now, the urge to just kind of throw them in on the bass notes of the chords and just be done with it, yeah, it's there. But we need to kind of incorporate a few different methods to this bass to really give it that realistic sound. The first part of that is groove. We need to give it some groove. We need to treat it like a melody element, like someone's actually playing it. So to do that, we need to combine some long sustained notes with some more short and plucky rhythms in there. But yeah, obviously we have to start with the root note. So we'll do that. Quite like that. Da, da. Oh yeah. Da, da. Oh, da, da. Oh yeah. Try the same here, why not? I don't think it's too much. I've got the bass down for this main section. I think it sounds really cool. It grooves and sounds like someone actually played it. It grooves with the chords, it works, it just sounds really nice. And when we kind of go up here as well, sounds crazy. We've also left these small little gaps in between the notes here. You can see they're not actually touching, really. I mean, some of them are, but we've definitely got a bunch of these gaps in here, and that just helps for the realism of it. It sounds a bit better. Okay, man, so now we're gonna move on to the melodies inside this sample. So yeah, we've got a lot to do. Let's break it down. So there's 3 pivotal parts that make up the melodies of this sample. And the first is expression. Expression is the way you're gonna make your melodies sound realistic, like someone actually played it. So there's a bunch of different ways to get expression out of a sound, and a lot of it is available inside of the actual piano roll. We can automate a lot of stuff from the volume, like this, and also the pitch as well. Slides and detunes and all kinds of stuff there that makes it sound super realistic for these instruments, man. Next, with the melodies, we need to be aware of playing styles, micro grooves. Human feel is essential. So we can stack octaves, we can combine different play styles of different instruments, and most importantly, if we're recording using a MIDI keyboard, leave quantization off. And finally, we need to be aware of what instruments we're going to be using. So we need to be using a variety of strings, brass, winds, and make it sound like a real full orchestra. I think I have found the most realistic way to get these authentic sounding orchestral melodies. And it's actually thanks to today's sponsor, Ace Studio, who have sent me over their program. It utilizes AI technology, however, it actually operates with you doing a lot of the hard work actually still, which keeps it fun. Vintage violin, for example, and drag it into the timeline. Now we have a piano roll just like our DAW. All we have to do is open up the Ace Studio bridge, have it on playback, and let's see what it sounds like. That is insane, and it blends it all together into this nice polished idea. Yeah, we're gonna be using Ace Studio a lot in this video, so if you guys wanna check it out, the link will be down below in the description, and yeah, it will really transform your melodies for sure. I'm just gonna record something in, I don't even know what I'm gonna do yet. Okay, cool. So as you can see, we just recorded the MIDI from FL into a studio now. Oh my God, that sounds so good. Wow, that is really cool. But I think what I'm going to do instead is I'm actually going to change the instrument. I'm going to go for a woodwind. Haven't tested this out yet. Okay, let's just record that then, see how that sounds. So it's recording now. So it's recorded it perfectly inside a studio now. I low-key want to do 2 octaves of this. Copy it down here to another one. How would that sound? Yo! Let's just get the elements in there. So I do want to add that violin, I think. That sounds amazing, I'm not gonna lie. Before we bounce it inside of FL though, I think what I can do is we go over to here, turn on ensemble. We can add in a few other instruments that will play the same thing and kind of spread them around a little bit. So we can have like 4 different violins. Okay, so that's the strings done for sure. We need some brass. That's what we do need. Let's try some legato trumpets. Velocity to get a slightly different sound. For this second half of the brass, we can duplicate this and we're going to combine 2 different types of brass. We've got a short one here, and then we've added a longer sustained one in for the second half of this first progression. And it just creates that realistic kind of orchestral feel. I think we're nearly done adding, to be honest. It sounds very full. So we've got the playing style down for sure, and we've definitely got a nice selection of instruments, but now we just need to address the first part of this melody section. The most important thing, expression. Let's start with this violin. We can give this some expression by creating an automation clip. So at any point where we want it to be a bit more intense, we can make a nice little curve. So we could start like this. We could go up like this, and then back down again. With the volume. If we just go to articulator tools and turn all points smooth, it just gives it a bit more of a smooth kind of curve. So we have a bit more control over the volume of it now, which just makes it sound so real. It's crazy. Oh yeah, we've got to do it for the winds as well, 100%. So let's see how that all sounds together now. And as you can see, these 2 different automations for the volumes of the different instruments, they're working in tandem. You can see when this one comes up, this one comes down, up, down, down, up, down. They work together. So they're weaving in and around each other now. They sound so much more real. Let's do something with this one as well. I'm going to add in a slightly different key sound for that higher octave on the clav, this one here. I'm going to have that just be a standard piano. I'm also going to add another instrument as well. It's going to be an electric guitar. Now we need to give it that realistic sound. So we're going to play around with the pitch. I might just bend this one here. This subtle pitch bends. Okay, that is the guitar added, what I wanted. Now we can do the vocals, which is what I was really excited to do. So vocals are super important for these vintage samples because it completes like the illusion of it being a real sample. And the problem is that I can't sing, and I feel like most of you guys watching probably can't sing very well either. This is the best alternative for sure. Ace Studio have come in clutch with this vocal AI model, which I can actually customize way more than you might think. So there's a bunch of these different voices in here. Jessica, right, let's go for Jessica. What we can do is we can basically pencil in a melody like we've done for the other instruments, and then the coolest part about it for sure, you can tell it what word to say for each note.
Some to Jack, please.
And we have a bunch of other advanced controls. We can control vibrato, do pitch bending as well, so we could go like up to G. So we have so much control over this vocal, and we can also stack vocal layers, choirs, bring different stuff in and out. It's insane. It's by far the best alternative to literally go ahead and sing it yourself. So with the vocals, we need to have harmonies, a lead vocal, and vocal ad-libs to create a really nice canvas of vocals inside of this sample. What I'm going to do is I'm going to actually start with some harmonies, change the chord to the second note up, and do that about 4 or 5 times basically. I've got 5 Jessicas going crazy right now. So because these are background vocals as well, we don't really want any vibrato, to be honest. That's nice, that's nice, that's nice. You gotta really trust the process with this shit, guys. It goes on a little bit too long, so I'm gonna have to make some cuts. It's time to get the lead vocal in there, which we can get some lyrics for, thanks to Ace Studio.
They say love is forever.
That's crazy how it carries the word on like that. Let's try this.
They say
That love. That does sound pretty sick though. That love forever. Let's try that.
they say that love forever.
Okay. Disagree. Let's see if that comes out. I disagree.
I disagree.
That's so wrong.
That can't be true. That can't be true. You broke my heart and left it tender.
I don't know if this is going to work. I'm just winging it. I can't even hear it. Yeah, I'm really struggling with this second section here. I got the first bit down, but
I'm still wishing after you.
please sound good, please.
I'm still wishing after you. Dreams can come true.
True.
Dreams can come true. They say that love's forever. That can't be true. I'm still wishing after you. Dreams can come true.
Oh my god, that sounds so good. Blends so well with the other vocal, what? So we're gonna add some drums to this sample just to give it a bit more of a realistic sound, like it's actually a real song.
They say that love's forever. That can't be true.
Honestly, as long as you have a decent little groove with a little break at the end, as you can hear with this. It's literally just for texture purposes. It doesn't actually have to be the drums because this is going to get flipped. So you don't really want drums. This is just to add that little something. We're going to mix down this sample now, give it the necessary effects that it needs to give it that vintage feel. So yeah, we're going to be using modeled vintage effects units to process this whole sample. So I put a pre-73 on this, which is basically a preamp with a bit of EQ and stuff, compression. It just brings it to the front and center a little bit. This is a spring reverb, so it's a bit more of a genuine reverb effect. I think that's probably it. Bass. And I'm going to mix it in context, by the way. Aggressive bass. The guitar now. We're going to route this to the reverb. I'm going to put a tape delay on it as well because that will sound crazy. Next thing, the winds. I don't want to go dumping too many effects on this, so I'm going to keep it pretty chill. Let's do the brass now. I'm going to pan those around a little bit as well. Let's do these backing vocals. I do the lead vocal as well. I'm not doing too much, to be honest with you. I'm really keeping it raw.
That can't be true. I'm still wishing after you. Dreams can come true.
Yeah, it sounds pretty good. I'm just going to now arrange it. We need a couple different sections. Yeah, we don't want everything coming in at once, obviously.
They say that love's forever.
Oh my god!
That can't be true. I'm still wishing after you. Dreams can come true.
We've got various different elements coming in and out, as you can see. Keeps it interesting. I'm just going to add a few little accents here and there to like really finish this off, and then we're going to export it, give it some master effects, and we'll listen to the final sample. What is that? That sounds sick. Bit of vinyl noise as well, why not? But yeah, that's basically it, and the arrangement is done as well. We've got some cool sections in here. Man, I absolutely love that sample. It sounds so cool. It really has that realistic, soulful kind of feel, and it would not have been possible without the help of Ace Studios. If you guys are looking for something that is going to give you the feeling of actually playing real instruments and getting them to sound hyper realistic for a very, very low cost, then Ace Studios is a great solution for that. If you do want to check it out, the link will be down below in the description. But yeah, I hope you guys learned something new from this one. This took a long time to make this sample, and yeah, I tried to break down as best I could. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Have a great day. Peace.